So, last week, after dealing with an invisible menace that assaulted you at Aurora's Emporium, where you had kind of taken up residence in Westgate after coming here from Candlekeep with Hilari, your new friend, you left Aurora's after that encounter to kind of still some of your numbers, some of your ranks down. You're still missing Eartha, you're still missing your horse, Sea Salt, and your Bloodhawk, Newt, and Samara. You are still without your animated armor companion, Jade, but you did manage to recover Black Beauty, Anya's horse, that was struggling on top of the market tower roof. But Eartha and Hilari, you managed to, or Eartha and Hilari, you both managed to kind of coax it down using magic safely, and yeah, so you're still a few down, but kind of going about your business in Westgate, while Lelianor, who is running Aurora's Emporium, the granddaughter of the titular Aurora, along with Hilari, they've kind of gone off, and they've said they're going to kind of shake the tree and see what falls out, and see if they can find any random horse materializing, any odd bird, any animated armor that's kind of just shown up somewhere random in the city, see if they can do anything about that. And also, kind of as well as that, they're doing a bit of research into why the teleportation spell, the teleportation circle at Aurora's Emporium is going so awry whenever anyone tries to teleport to it. Like when you guys try to teleport to it and you got flung across the whole city, Anya managing to arrive where you guys were supposed to, but Eartha, you being trapped under the waves of the harbour, and Samara, you getting flung a few miles outside of the city to a cryptic Menhir ring site where you met a local scholar. But yeah, so now you're going about your business. Kind of at Samara's lead, you are heading towards Quivering Thumb, which is very noticeable in Westgate skyline. It's kind of in the eastern part of the city, not quite in the city's east end. So the majority of the city, Westgate's east end, are divided by a river, the River Thun, which is crossed by a single bridge. The Quivering Thumb isn't in the east end. It's kind of just before the river, kind of quite close by to the bridge. So you can kind of imagine like the Roman Colosseum, but kind of maybe not quite as big and kind of elongated. So it's kind of instead of being like circular, it's kind of pulled out a bit to be more like stadium-like. But yeah, so you can kind of, once it's been pointed out to you by like Samara, once you'd asked Lelianor about the Quivering Thumb, she had pointed out this large structure, this arena, Colosseum-like structure in the city's skyline, and you can pretty easily make your way towards it. It's not super far. It's maybe 20-25 minutes of walking through the city streets, and you don't go anywhere near the harbour or the city walls. You're pretty much walking through the middle of the city. You walk, first of all, coming out of Aurora's, you would walk past the market. If there's anything you'd like to try and pick up, you don't have to think of that now. We can if you think of something in a bit, you can retroactively say, oh yeah, Eartha.
I want to get a trident.
Cool, yeah. Flesh out your weapon stash. Yeah, just charge yourself for whatever is the price in the player's handbook. In fact, actually, did you give yourself any money back from the test session? Because technically you would have already paid for it.
No, I completely forgot. I'll just double check so you know how much I'm getting charged.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not too much anyway.
I think it's like a couple silver or some gold even.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, in the marketplace, you probably find a few weapons merchants, a few dwarves, a few humans, and you eventually, probably pretty quickly, find a suitable trident that you can stick in the bag of holding and add to your stash of weapons that you're accumulating.
Can I see if there's any health potions around?
Sure. Make an investigation check.
My bad, it's 5 gold pieces. So
5 gold pieces.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
My investigation is 8 plus 8. That is a 23.
23. Yeah, with a roll that high, a market isn't necessarily the place for kind of potionry, but with a roll that high, I'll say you do manage to find a few, like probably a mixture of a few vendors that are trying to sell a few, who just happen to have a few that they're willing to sell on. I'll say you can buy a maximum of 2 of the smallest type, which is the 1d4 plus something, I think, or maybe 2d4. I'm not sure. Whatever the normal kind of regular potion of healing is. You can buy 2 of those at 50 piece a pop. How many would you like?
I'll grab Eartha because he has all the gold, and I'll grab both of them, and then he can pay the 100 gold for the 2 of them.
Sure. Yeah, so scratch up 100 gold, and how would you like to distribute those potions of health?
I'll take one, and I'll give one to Anya too.
Cool. So Anya, just wherever it's convenient, note down that you have a potion of healing. So if you're ever in a tough spot and you don't want to use a spell slot, you can drink that to gain some health back. So I mean, looking at these potions, they're kind of, because they're the normal, the regular, they're not like a big chunky one or a big expensive one. They're just kind of small glass vials with a stopper in the top, with this kind of slightly fizzing, burbling, light red liquid swirling in them. Anything else at the market? Do anyone want to shout anything out?
I'll just clarify, it's 2d4 plus 2 hit points regained when
cool.
drinking.
Yeah, so, cool. Thank you very much. Cool, with that. So, as you kind of leave Aurora's and you kind of get back into the city streets, there are still some people looking at you as you, as there was kind of a commotion in Aurora's Emporium. Probably the windows are a bit smashed, not like completely blown out, broken everywhere, but probably cracked. The door had been kind of almost blown off its hinges. Anya's horse had been spooked outside, so kind of quite a commotion had been made. Your horse is probably fine, stabled up there. Lelianor and Hilari are staying there for the moment, so should the need be, they'll stable her somewhere else if that is required, but it's fine for now, so you don't need to worry about that. So as you leave Aurora's, kind of some people kind of staring at you, you move on to the city streets. Quite busy. It's about, at the time of you leaving Candlekeep, it was about kind of just approaching midday. So with the time it took for Eartha to free himself from the harbour, Samara to walk from the outskirts, like kind of like the hinterland around Westgate, it's probably approaching like 2 in the afternoon, maybe 2:30 at this point. So it's kind of that afternoon point. So the market is particularly busy, but the streets are also quite busy. So as you kind of, you go into the market, get the trident, the potions of healing, anything else you need that you might think of in a bit. And then, you head forward or head east through kind of these very busy streets towards this looming shape in the city skyline. And the Westgate has mostly a pretty standard city skyline. There's not many. There's a few kind of fortified castle-like buildings. There's the Spire of Suffering, where Eartha and Hilari, where Eartha had found Hilari kind of entombed in an empty grave. And then there's the Colosseum. They're the most the Quivering Thumb. They're kind of the most notable features of Westgate's skyline. So very easy to navigate towards. So as you do that and you push towards the Quivering Thumb, as you enter the shadow of the building itself, this massive stadium itself, you notice just in the kind of the architecture and the surrounding area, you kind of get the sense that this used to be a much smaller venue that has rocketed in popularity and has just increased in size over time. This thing probably started as, and especially based on kind of what you guys know about Westgate, you probably think this place started as a kind of just a sand pit like a not very big sand pit where richer people would send their slaves to fight each other, and this has become kind of a monopoly and a very big attraction. So it's kind of become this very small underground fighting ring to like literally something paralleling the Colosseum. So yeah, you can kind of see that in the architecture, kind of it being built out, and some of like as you kind of enter the inner grounds and the area itself, you notice some of that interior core architecture being a lot more archaic and getting a lot newer as it kind of goes out. But as you do approach, you notice the crowd, like kind of the people around here seem to be kind of the people you've been passing in the street are kind of just indifferent. They're going about their day. But as you get quite close to the Colosseum, there are lines, there are queues, there are crowds and groups and cliques that are waiting for some sort of demonstration, some sort of show today. And they seem disgruntled. They seem, it's like you kind of feel like you're showing up to the concert, but you're looking around, and it seems you're getting the sense that it's been pushed back or it's been cancelled because everyone around here seems kind of pissed off. And you're very much getting that sense from the people you're around, especially as you approach kind of the booth area where you see this kind of balding human man, a little bit below average height, this like kind of greedy smile that you can see still poking through, even though a lot of people have this kind of malice directed towards him at the minute, being a staffer at this place. You can kind of see like a single golden tooth gleaming in that smile. He appears to be kind of a coin master of this operation. People place their bets with this guy. He kind of points people to where they should be going. But yeah, you're getting the sense from the crowd that whatever show is supposed to be happening has been postponed or cancelled or some sort of disruption. And even though this guy isn't in any sort of confrontation at the minute, he's kind of counting coins, looking through ledgers behind a ticketing booth. You get the sense a lot of the people's malice is directed towards him at this current time. So yeah, as you guys kind of, even though there are queues, you can kind of brush past the queues because it's not going in for anything. It's just kind of people accumulating in the way they have. So yeah, this kind of balding stump human man seems to be someone to talk to, the most, or at least the most apparent person to talk to about involving yourself here at the Quivering Thumb.
Can I, out of all of the groups of like disgruntled people, do any of them look less able to hurt me, who I could maybe go up and talk to without feeling like I'm gonna get stabbed?
Sure. Westgate is that, like, very astute of you to say. Westgate is one of those cities where everyone kind of looks like a hardened dock worker. Like a lot of the population looks like they could like break you like a pencil. But you do see a few exceptions to that rule. Just for like posterity, make a perception check.
That's a 17, and as it's sight, my thing is doubled, which gives me a 23.
23, cool. Very good. You've got those bird eyes.
So in other words, he's got basically like an expertise.
Yeah, doubles it because I'm an arrow.
Big bird. Yeah, you see probably in terms of who you think might be A, least able to do physical harm to you, and B, most willing to talk, you see kind of a group of young people, not super young, not like kids, maybe kind of, they look about the similar age to Anya and Eartha, kind of like somewhere in between 20 and 25, kind of just after young adults, kind of adults, but the younger side of adults. And there's kind of a group of 4 or 5, kind of not in nice clothes, but not in like rags that some of the more brutish looking workers here are wearing. These kind of look like they've come for a day out. They haven't put on like their finest garb, but they've put on like some nice casual wear to come and enjoy a day at the Thumb. And yeah, they appear to all be human except for one half elf guy, kind of a mix of guys and girls. Just standing in a huddle outside of a line, maybe 20 or 30 feet away from the coin master at the entrance.
Like approach them like slowly and nicely, and try and kind of like in like a samurai awkward fashion, like, hello, may I ask? I haven't talked to the coin master yet, but is there a reason everything's going so slowly?
As you kind of approach, like as you kind of start talking, you know that thing, especially because of like Samurai's mannerism. Even though on the outside he's a very eye-catching individual, being like a tall, colorful bird man. Just like his mannerism, his kind of quiet talking. The first half of what you're saying, you kind of there like talking in that group, and kind of one of them clocks you, and they all kind of turn to you eventually, and kind of they catch like the last half of what you're saying, and you see some of them look confused, some of them look pissed off, not necessarily at you, just kind of at the fact that they're standing around not doing anything, and one of them, kind of this scrawny human man with kind of like very thin stubble. And kind of slightly pointed hair. He kind of steps forward, and kind of that the rest of their ensemble begins talking about whatever they were talking about. But he kind of breaks off, and he's like, "There's been some sort of disruption. There was supposed to be a match today, but one of the combatants hasn't shown up. So if they can't find someone to step in, it appears it will be cancelled."
Okay, I was just checking. Thank you, and I'll head off.
Of course. Good day. And he goes back to his group. Yeah.
I'll go back to these two, say that obviously match is cancelled, tell them what's up, and I'll say, should we head to the coin master?
I'm down.
You can kind of see, like as you break up, with that click being like 20 feet away from the coin master, you notice this coin master, this kind of balding, pudgy, stump human. This probably comes from his profession, dealing with people all day, but also dealing with coin and probably wanting more coin. He recognizes that he hasn't dealt with you lot yet, and so as you kind of break off from that group and you kind of begin discussing and then kind of begin to approach, he immediately begins to wave you over, kind of recognizing he hasn't taken coin from you yet. And he's like, as you kind of get 10 feet away and you approach, he's like, right this way, and he kind of waves you over to speak with him, and you can see he kind of already opens a pouch, kind of waiting for you to give him coin for whatever, and he kind of waits for you to one of you to say something, kind of spell out exactly what you're here for.
Hello, hi, I'm trying to meet a Lamian noble. I've been sent all the way from Chult.
Don't know what that means.
Is there anyone downstairs in the arena we could talk to? Some sort of fighting man?
Plenty of fighting men. Aye, there's you could talk to the battle master, Lars. He's the organizer. He's one of the chaps that organizes most of the fights, if that's what you're here for. But he's connected to some of the upper brass that pay for everything here and watch a lot of the fights. Yeah, you could speak to Lars, but unless you're planning on fighting, he doesn't like his time wasted. But he kind of eyes you with kind of pegging you as a warrior, and being like, but maybe you should speak to Lars if that's where your mind's at.
I mean,
no, can I?
Fancy clothes, a sword, getting clocked.
No, and he kind of knocks this coin pouch over, and he's like, no, the match might not go ahead today, but would you like to make a bet in any case?
What's the match?
Well, if it goes ahead, there is and he kind of stops himself for a minute. and he kind of pushes the coin pouch away, and he kind of starts ignoring you almost, Samara, and he's talking to you now with, you like making coin, boy?
Never said I haven't.
Well, the match today has been postponed because one of the combatants hasn't shown up. Supposed to. You should go speak to Lars. He'll fill you in on the details. And now, kind of returning to you, Anya and Samara, he says, and if you two would like to make a bet, you can run back up and do so. But and he kind of he leans back, and you can kind of see inside the entrance, there's kind of two directions you can go. One kind of seems to curl upwards and kind of develop into staircases that go up towards the seating to watch combatants fight. And the other direction kind of seems to start going down into stairwells that go down underneath the quivering thumb, where combatants get ready and they go after combat, kind of like the blood pits. So he kind of points you down that corridor, saying, well, Lars is downstairs if you'd like to get more information. And then kind of his eyes trail back to you one last time, Samara, where he's like, and you can ask your questions while you're there.
Okay, thank you. And I'll start walking that way.
Very good. And he kind of pushes the coins all the way, kind of realizing you're not paying for anything yet. And as you're kind of walking inside and going down that corridor, and he's like, don't forget to make a bet on your friend. Not expecting a reply, just as you trail off.
When he says that, can I turn to these two and go, if I'm fighting, 500 on me, right? If not,
you're fighting, I'll put all of your gold on you.
Well, now, hold up. That we don't know how much we're getting back yet. 9,000 might be a bit much to put on.
I'm planning on you winning, so.
Fair enough, so am I. If I do it,
only gonna be profit.
If you say so.
Yeah. I'll keep moving.
Yeah. So as you guys kind of push into the interior, and not just that, kind of in the entranceway is kind of clad in marble, a lot of red banners and ribbonry, and it almost feels like you've walked into a Cormyran castle, or somewhere in Waterdeep, somewhere very fancy and elegant, and you see kind of those white but choked with black marble steps kind of curl up to go up towards the stands, and kind of there's some open areas where you can actually see the fight, the arena, kind of the battleground. You can't walk out, but you can see it, kind of on level with you, and it kind of, for a time, it seems similar going down, but as you actually begin to descend, there's kind of like some of the steps are that marble, and then very immediately it stops and it turns into blood-stained cobblestone. And as you actually go underground when you're in the level underneath the Colosseum, the walls are stained with blood, like a bloody handprint that drags down, stains that go across. The floor is disgusting. The smell of blood and gore and fecal matter and urine and all of this very base. Those kind of smells hang heavy down in this place, and you even think there might have been some sort of magical protection from that stuff leaking out, because it's, as soon as you kind of cross those steps where you kind of step off the marble and you take a next step down and you're on kind of cobblestone, rough hewn stone, that smell kind of immediately hits you and you kind of almost gag a bit. But yeah, as you descend down, you see this kind of very expansive undercroft area of the Quivering Thumb has facilities for training, kind of stuffed scarecrow mannequins with kind of targets on them for sword practice and archery, kind of standard circular hay bales or sections of hay for archery practice and so on and so forth. But you also kind of just casually see a few unconscious people, a few people bleeding out, a few combatants that might be dead for all you know. And you definitely see, especially right near the stairwell, you see kind of a cart with a dead halfling and a dead human on it that just haven't been disposed of yet. You see a few people that might kind of be staff. They're just kind of wearing clothes that are slightly nicer than what you'd expect to see down here, and a lot of them don't appear to have much time. They're running around, not really listening. But there doesn't appear to be anyone actually down here. Anyone that's down here appears to be, at the moment anyway, is either a corpse, unconscious, bleeding out, or injured in some other way, as to, you know, why they're not going through with this fight that's holding everything up. They seem to be otherwise predisposed. And kind of clocking you notice this woman kind of realize there's people here, and you see her kind of while she's hurrying around cleaning things up and doing certain menial tasks, she kind of whispers to this large, imposing man. He has dark hair, dark, kind of very black, maybe streaked with a little bit of grey in certain places, but long, dark hair, and a very pale complexion. He looks like he's probably not from Westgate. Looks like he's probably from somewhere in the north, like Luskin or Icewind Dale. But as soon as you speak to him, you kind of recognize his accent and his manner as West Havian. You think his heritage is maybe from somewhere else, but he's very much born and raised in Westgate. And as he kind of clocks you and he kind of meets you halfway as you're kind of looking around, looking for the person you're meant to find, he kind of, "Can I help you?"
Are you Lars?
"I am."
I was told that you know a lot of the higher ups in this place, funders. I'm looking for a Lamian noble.
Can't help you with that, but I've been expecting you. If that helps.
Yes, I assume you'll know if it's connected in some way, if it's a pre-arranged fight. I've never heard of it.
It came through not long ago, several days ago. I was told when I saw an individual of your description, and it kind of takes a moment. I've never seen one before, so I take it this isn't a coincidence. Kind of spelling out your Aarakocra, very colourful, very, and also wizard. Kind of three things that are very unusual. An Aarakocra wizard, but also a Chilton Aarakocra, very colourful. I was supposed to inform you when you showed up that you have an exhibition match the day following your arrival. My Alexa's just activated. You have an exhibition match the day following your arrival. Should that suit you? I don't have a name.
Yeah, name's Samura. Okay.
He kind of clicks, like, and one of this kind of younger man kind of nods and quickly scribbles it down in some sort of ledger and claps it shut and files it away again. Just kind of as you're speaking, continue.
Do I get to know anything about my opponent, or is it a blind match?
A bit of both. I can't tell you much today. It hasn't been organised, but I'll tell you a bit before the fight, so you won't be able to prepare much, but a little.
Right. Thank you.
So 12 tomorrow, yeah?
Okay. Yeah, 12.
Very good. Is there any kind of he almost has that same moment of pause as the kind of coin master upstairs had, where he goes, and he almost like in the exact same manner, not like maliciously, but just instinctively begins to ignore you again, Samura, and kind of clocks you with, and he goes, "Oh, you're a... Would you be able to fill in for a match today, young one?"
Depends. Well, how long have I got to rest, get my stuff ready, that kind of a thing?
You can take a short rest if that's what you need. And he kind of points upstairs lazily, and he's like, "The crowds are getting restless. The match was meant to be half an hour ago, but you can take a short rest should you need it. But ideally, you'd start immediately after."
Do you have any spare armor going? Because mine's currently drying off.
Well, and he kind of waves his hand and kind of takes you to a desk with some ledgers by it and tells you to take a seat. A short rest isn't necessarily sleeping. You can just do a short rest is just kind of resting, kind of lounging around.
Mhm.
So this can be the start of your short rest, while he kind of explains the match. So he'll tell you that a guy was supposed to fight a lion today, but the combatant who was supposed to show up to fight the lion just hasn't shown up. And he's sorry, something just distracted me. I think I'm getting Chinese, so it's everyone take a pause. Basically, he's kind of not, the guy just hasn't shown up. This combatant hasn't shown up, clearly afraid of fighting a lion. But he will also tell you, so it's an unarmed fight. The base reward is 200 gold pieces if you complete the fight unarmed. You get an extra 100 gold pieces if you don't use any sort of magic during the fight.
So
You can buff yourself before the fight. Abilities aren't magic.
That's
abilities
right.
are just
Right.
and if you also do the fight unarmored, you get double whatever you, so if you do it without weapons and without magic, you get double that if you do it unarmored.
Now that is a tough choice, because unarmored it's 10, isn't it?
It's 10 plus. Oh yeah, it might just be 10. I'll double check.
I think it's 10 plus your dexterity, but I don't have any dexterity, so it's just 10.
Oh
boy.
I will double check just to be safe, but that does sound right. Yeah, 10 plus dexterity. You could basically any magic before the fight is fine. So if anyone has any sort of spell that could give you a boost to dexterity or something like that, that is applicable.
Also, you do realize unarmed strike is 1 plus your strength.
Yeah, so it's 5.
But he also has War Priest.
I could also cast Shield of Faith on myself before I go out, which gives me plus 2 AC. But I only have access to first level spells because I used everything else. Can I do an intelligence check on a lion to see how
Sure.
hard, like how easily it could hit me if I didn't have armor on?
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, that is a 13.
13. Could you tell me what your dexterity is? Is it 10?
Yeah.
10. You're not incredibly dexterous. I mean, but this is the thing. You're not lazy by any means. You're not unmoving. You're not like a brick wall. You don't just take hits. But at the same time, you're not pushing arrows out the way and dodging out the way of things. You're kind of like sometimes your reactions and you're lucky and you manage to dodge out of the way. But if you don't, you can often take the hit. That being 20 being incredibly dexterous, 0 being not dexterous at all, 10 you're riding that middle ground of you're not dexterous but you're also not dexterous. You're just kind of average, very much literally average in that regard. But at the same time, a lion is a big creature. And you fought worse, albeit with armor and weapons and magic. But at the same time, this is a big creature that it isn't sneaky. It might be in the wild, in the jungles, when it's sneaking up on you. But when you're going to be out in this arena, all of its attacks are going to be telegraphed before they hit. It's not going to be like, a claw out of nowhere. If it goes to bite you or if it goes to hit you with its claw or jump at you, you are going to see that coming. So there's a reasonable chance. You think with being able to cast magic on yourself beforehand and kind of the hardening you've done over the last few kind of particularly the last month or so, as in-game time, that's kind of been since the start. It's been just over a month in-game time since you all met each other at the Elf Song Tavern, and kind of the power increase you've undergone. You think, what did you get at 13?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 13.
It's certainly not impossible that you could win this fight without magic weapons or armor. It's not like a guaranteed thing, but it's more likely than it is unlikely. With you being able to, kind of enhance yourself in some small way, and knowing that, this is out of game terms, like not speaking in universe, you're a level 6 character. You can use War Priest to hit twice, whereas the Lion, spoilers, can only attack once. So, as long as, and there'll be times when you don't hit, and there'll be times when the Lion doesn't hit, and there'll be times when, it's impossible to truly say, because, the dice might, for some reason, randomly, every hit the Lion does is a natural 20, and you roll a natural 1 every time. But on average, you have a decent chance of being able to do this. And in game terms, that would probably look, because like War Priest is really your big advantage here, and the cleric ability, the war cleric ability, War Priest, that's kind of like your faith. You think if the Red Knight is on your side here, you will be able to win, and if she isn't, do you even deserve to win or be alive afterwards in the first place?
Can I use
that's
channel?
kind of probably it.
Can I use channel divinity as well?
What?
But I only have one channel divinity, and I've only got guided strike, which just gives me a +10 to hit.
Yeah, that's an ability, not a spell, so that would be
right.
Fine. Yeah.
Can I ask, Jess, do you have enhanceability spell slots left? I don't know what level spell it is, you see. I don't know what you've got remaining.
Oh, bugger, I used second wind last time, didn't I? Oh, wait, I'm having a short... Wait, no, I'm having a short rest. I might be able to use it again.
I tell you now, you don't.
I have 2 spell slots left on a second level spell.
I will have a look at enhanceability, because the spell card conveniently doesn't actually tell you what any of the things do.
I can, Jackson.
So,
oh, nice.
Ellis, just so you know, Anya has 2 castings of enhanceability that she can do. So your options are Bear's Endurance. The target has advantage on Constitution checks. It also gains 2d6 temporary hit points, which are lost when the spell ends. Bull's Strength. The target has advantage on strength checks, and his or her carrying capacity doubles. Cat's Grace. The target has advantage on dexterity checks. It also doesn't take damage from falling 20 feet or less if it isn't incapacitated. Eagle's Splendor, advantage on Charisma. Fox's Cunning, advantage on intelligence checks. Owl's Wisdom, advantage on wisdom checks. So really, Bear's Endurance gives you extra hit points and advantage on Constitution checks. Bull's Strength gives you advantage on strength checks. And Cat's Grace gives you advantage on dexterity checks, and some falling protection. But that's not necessarily,
Question about that.
Yeah.
It's a concentration spell, so.
So yeah, I was thinking you might be able to do 2 castings of it, but you'd only be able to do 1.
Because I couldn't. I mean, you'd probably find it out because it'd be cheating if I was just sat in the audience.
Yeah, you're allowed to do it as long as you do it before the match begins. It's totally fine. It's kind of like, imagine in a corrupt. I mean, I guess you don't have to imagine. A lot of sports, or a lot of organized sports, are like this. As long as no one sees you doping, it's fine. Like, as long as you do the drugs in private, and you put on a good show, then not, because this is a very corrupt kind of city. It's about the coin. It's about putting on a good show. So as long as the audience doesn't think you're using magic, they don't see you flinging fireballs and stuff. If they think you're just a guy who genuinely did that with just the skin on your back, then, that's kind of what it's about. So you can even try and cast spells and kind of do a sleight of hand check or a stealth check to keep it sneaky. But, if you do mess it up, it might negatively impact the reward. But yeah, so you can do 1 casting reliably of enhanced ability before the match starts. It lasts for an hour.
1
so
hour.
You're fine. Yeah, so it'll be fine. It'll last for the whole match. So once he finishes his rest, you can slap one of these on him for the match. So, do you guys want to discuss that? What's attractive to you? Bear's endurance with the advantage on constitution and temporary hit points, bull's strength with the advantage on strength, or cat's grace with the advantage on dexterity.
Right. So I'm going to do it unarmored, and I'm also going to do it with the endurance to get temporary hit points. I'm also going to cast Shield of Faith before I go out, wasting one of my spell slots, which gives me +2 to my AC, making it 12, plus my temporary hit points. So I should, theoretically, be alright if I can out-damage the lion.
I'm just gonna check something
Are
here.
you checking if it comes
You're
out with
checking
a
mage armor.
No, I'm checking message.
message?
Just thinking if from the stage I can just keep messaging this line and just really fuck him with his head. Because if I listen to advice, he might start looking around for it. You know what I mean?
No, because then
I'm
that
not
will...
sure if there's an intelligence level on those.
If you keep messaging him,
I'm looking at
you might think that I'm, the one doing it and confusing him.
the target. The target and only the target hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear. It doesn't. Towards a creature within range. It's just a creature.
Does it not say must have an intelligence of a certain amount, or does it not say that?
No, there's a couple barriers. So you can cast a spell through solid objects if you're familiar with the target and know it is beyond the barrier. Magical silence, 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood blocks the spell. The spell doesn't have to follow a straight line and can travel freely around corners and through openings.
That's all fine, but it is verbal, somatic, and material. So you're kind of going like boobly 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 boobly. So that's fine, but you'd have to do like a kind of pass, kind of a semi-difficult stealth / sleight of hand check to kind of hide your spell casting.
The verbal thing is alright because only he can hear it. So even when I'm saying the spell, it'll still just be like, it'll just look like I'm talking and nothing's happening. It's gonna be the somatic bit really, which is the.
I also have
bitch.
something I wanted to buy from the market, which I've just thought of. Thanks.
Okay.
I want to buy a box lined with lead.
That's
Big enough.
going to be a bit more tricky.
Yeah.
So I'll have you make an investigation check.
Because I want it big enough to.
disadvantage.
I want it big enough to fit the key in.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
16 and 15 plus my investigation, which is 4 plus 5, so plus 9. 50. 24.
Cool. I'll say you managed to find one. It's kind of like, it's just an old, there's kind of this gnome at the market who's selling kind of antique kind of crap. He's just kind of accumulated like some kind of antiquary that might be worth something to someone. And you kind of find this box. You kind of look at it in passing, and it's got some crap in it. But after a moment, you realize the box is lined with lead. And so you kind of tip the stuff out and you kind of ask for the box. The box itself is very nice. Kind of on the outside has got like this kind of faux amber. Like it's not made of amber, but it's made to imitate amber. It's kind of got like ornate golden legs. It's not meant for secreting away some evil magic key. But the key is probably about it's not the size of a standard key. It's maybe about 10 centimeters, maybe 15 centimeters. Kind of, you could hold it like almost like it's kind of dagger sized. You think you'd be able to fit this in here pretty easily, but kind of this older gnome gentleman realizing you kind of want this thing, and he didn't realize it was lead lined, but he kind of catches on that it's got some sort of value. He'll want 300 gold for it.
Nah, 200, mate. It's a box.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Well, I got a 5 and I got a 19 plus my persuasion, so 24.
He hears that, so he'll. Sorry, what did you suggest?
200.
200. He will call it 250.
Nah, 200. If he doesn't agree with the 200, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna buy the components to build a lead box, the exact size for the key.
Make one more persuasion check with advantage again.
I'm rolling pretty good today. That is a
I'm rolling bad.
22, because I got 17 and I got a 13. Plus a
You
5.
kind of do that. I remember I did something very similar to this in Chinatown in New York, where I was trying to bargain for something, and I was like, okay, I'm just not going to get it and leave. And then they were like, okay. So he kind of like, as you kind of slam the thing back down, and you're like, fine, whatever. You kind of chuck it onto his wagon, his pile of crap, and you start storming off. And he's like, okay. And he kind of follows you, and he kind of pulls you back. And he's like, 200, yes, 200. And he kind of puts his hand out expectantly.
I'll give him 200.
Cool. Yeah. So you have a lead-lined bow, it's just a decorative box, but you think, in fact, kind of on further inspection, it looks quite old, but it looks refurbished. So you think this has been some sort of old jewelry box that has been, someone has later added lead lining elements, maybe for a similar purpose as you have, maybe for hiding magical jewelry, not hiding, but just like obscuring. And you do notice when you close it and you take, you empty the crap out of it, and you kind of do a bit of inspection on it and you close it. It does have a lock clasp, when you close it, it does have a keyhole. He doesn't have the key with it. You get the sense he bought without the key. But if you can have someone make a key, or if you could do that somehow, or if you lockpicked it, you would be able to lock it also, but you don't have the key for it.
Right. Okay, that's fine. That's good enough for me.
Cool. Yeah. So fast forward. That was a flashback. You're just reminiscing about that.
I'm gonna pull the box out, give it to Samurai, say, don't let anyone touch this, don't let anyone, open it. This has the special thing in, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This should stop people using locate object on it.
Can I, at this point, while he's talking to me, I'm gonna do that, and then the frog will just appear and just drop on my shoulder, and then I'm gonna send Abu into the box.
Oh, to sit in with the key?
Yeah, and I'll just hold the box afterwards.
Cool, yeah. So you, Eartha hands you this kind of gaudy jewelry box, and you flick it open, and Abba jumps off your shoulder and kind of sits on top of the key and kind of looks up at you, and you close it shut. And kind of put it underneath your arm or in your satchel, wherever you want it to go. Cool.
I'm then going to look at Anya and go, watch that as well. We need all eyes on that. It's important and we don't want it missing. Alright.
Cool. Yeah. So
good. I'm going to die.
Then we'll so we'll just kind of talk in abstracts for this portion. So over the next, we'll say 3 hours, you kind of rest, recuperate, meditate a bit, sit around, get yourself in the zone, do a bit of light training, do a bit of reading, do a prayer. Once you kind of finish that short rest, Lars, about half an hour before you finish your short rest, Lars kind of leaves, and you get the sense to go and confer with the coin master upstairs, and you can hear the above of masses of people moving into the stadium to go and get their seats to watch the match. It's almost Stampede-esque. You get the sense kind of some buzz because they kind of thought it just wasn't going to happen, and you get the sense probably a lot of people left kind of being like, oh, well, it's not happening, and they stormed off. But now it is happening. You've stepped in. So yeah, give yourself anything you get from a short rest happening. Give yourself 2d6 temporary hit points from Bear's endurance, from Anya's casting. And Anya is going to maintain concentration on that for the next hour. So, shouldn't need to track that. Should be fine.
I will also go up to Anya, give her the bag of holding, and then slip my sword into it as well, and any other belongings I have on it, so I am literally just bare-knuckled. I'm going to take my blazer off, so I'm just in my shirt, unbutton it slightly, untuck it, roll my sleeves up, roll my trouser legs up a bit, roll my sleeves up. I'm just going to say there's some money in there, place however much you want on me. I might not win, but hopefully I do. And tell them to go get their seats, basically.
Could I have short rested while he was short resting?
Say again,
since, like, we're could I also have short rested in this time? Just,
Sure.
as he has. Right, okay, I can get some spells back with that.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, with that, if you hand over the bag of holding, Anya flings it over her shoulder, tightens the strap to her proportions. Kind of, you've had it over armor, so her in just kind of her regular clothes, it kind of just drags down, tightens it up. It probably magically kind of zips up to wherever's most comfortable. And she probably nods, and her and Samura run back upstairs. Just again in kind of abstract, would you guys, Samura and Anya, like to place any sort of bet on either the lion or Eartha?
Can I? Oh, we have all of Ellis's money, don't we?
I also said place as much as you want.
How much did he give me?
Do you want to know the exact amount that's in the bag of holding?
How much did he give Anya?
Yeah.
9,687.
Alright, I'm going to turn to Anya and go, do you know what? I believe in my good old buddy, my old friend Eartha. I think we should place 9,600 on the line. No, I'll turn to her and go, I don't want to show a lack of faith. Obviously, if I had 100% belief, I'd bet it all, but there's always no chance it's not his day. 100 gold?
100? I said at least 500 and we're walking in.
Well, that's your decision, mate. You're not here now.
Really doesn't have that much faith. I say about 300. About that.
Can I one up or go? 600.
There you go.
Playing like this one up game.
Well, you guys can place separate bets. Anya can make a 300 bet, and Samura can make a 600 bet.
That's true.
Oh, I'm doing that.
There's money to place bets. We don't have to spend our own.
Right,
It's not like you're not like short on money. You've got 9 grand sitting there.
I'll place 600 on Ellis from myself.
I'll play 400.
Cool, very cool. If you guys could just, I might remember, I might not. If you guys could just note those numbers in your head, and then, depending on what happens, I'll tell you what percentage increase, profit you win or lose, or you might lose all of it. Let's see.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, Oren the coin master, whose name is Oren, very greedily takes that coin. You get the sense that's not like the biggest bet he's ever seen, but it's also above what these common folk are slapping down, well above what these probably every match he gets a few big spenders who drop a few thousand in, but still a few hundred is remarkable enough to where he's like, oh, and he kind of shows that way.
Would I be able to place a bet?
Yeah, sure. Probably they'd have to do it as your proxy.
Yeah.
While you're getting ready.
A grand.
Yeah, very confident.
If he's not here, we don't have to do it.
That's true. It's true.
But think of the money we could be making here.
But I could be losing it too, while losing a friend.
I
don't want to be poor and friendless. I'd prefer to be, not poor and friendless.
Put it this way. I've got a decent amount of health, an alright, AC, and I can hit pretty hard. I can also hit more than once.
AC. It's 10.
12.
Okay, right.
I've got shield.
That makes it so much better.
It does. It makes it too better. It's not exactly 18, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
I'll slap the grand down too.
Yeah.
I've got a grand and 600 wrote down.
And 400.
400.
I'll write the 400 down too. I've got everyone's bets managed. Ellis, you
I'm
keep the
playing
total
it
written down.
safe.
I've got some of them down as well, though. Oh, bloody hell.
Anya's playing it smart. You guys are playing it with the heart.
Yeah.
We've just bet 2 grand.
Yeah.
So 1,600 and 400, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shit.
Yeah, Jackson, if you just keep note of that, and I'll tell you what the deal is. Cool. So yeah, you guys kind of run up to Oren, and the crowd is pouring through very quickly. Like, it's not moving at a slow pace. People jam through. So as you kind of come up the stairs, there's a stampede of people storming through. after like a minute, everyone is gone and seated, and you kind of run up to Oren as he's kind of packing up his stuff and getting ready to go in, and you're like, we want to make an extra bet, and you stock down 2,000, and he's like, oh, okay, and he, under various names, so he gives you 3 receipts. Anya, he'll give you a receipt for 400 gold pieces. Samura, he'll give you a receipt for 600 gold pieces, and he'll give one of you a receipt for 1,000 gold pieces under Eartha's name, but kind of noted that you two did it by proxy, so you can also collect it should the need arise. So yeah, and then you guys follow up kind of the empty stairwells because everyone's already seated, and as you kind of get out into that open Colosseum air, it's very busy. You get the sense these kind of matches where it's not just 2 people or groups of people fighting, when it's a person versus something, like a creature, something wild, and especially when there's these extra things like no armor, no weapons, no magic, when it's just a man versus something. This isn't like a dragon, this is just a lion, but this guy who's about to go out to these people, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't even have the shirt on his back, he's just about to punch a lion.
Oh no, I have the shirt, I don't have the blazer.
Just a phrase. So these people are like excited to see man versus wild, and they are, it's palpable. It's not at capacity by any means. It's not full. If he was fighting something like a wyvern, something exciting, then this place might be packed out. It's maybe just over half capacity to watch this match. Probably about in the region of a few hundred people, maybe 250, 270 people.
Once I'm sat down, can I cast locate object on the key with the box shut?
Sure.
Does it work?
And locate object specifically says the thing about lead, correct?
Yeah. It says can't be located through lead.
Any thickness of lead.
Then yes, it does. You cannot sense the key when you picture in your mind's eye. You picture you taking it from Nicene. You picture that horrible appendage Nicene had when she was fighting with the key. You picture Damon taking the key. You're seeing all the places you've seen this key, and you see Eartha handing it to you in this box. You picture it in your mind, and you remember clasping the box shut, and you cannot sense this key anywhere on this plane.
Right, and I'll just quickly open the box, make sure it's there.
You see it lying there, and if you did, not saying you would because you wouldn't want to burn a spell slot, but if you were to cast it again, you'd be able to sense it, but closing it again, no such sense.
Cool, that's it.
So, Eartha, you are still down in these sordid, soggy, bloody, gory blood pits underneath the quivering thumb, while Anya and Samura have taken their seat amongst the crowds, kind of roaring with anticipation. And you can, even underground, you can hear that kind of pre-ecstasy. I did a hit. Pre-ecstasy roaring, like they want this. They want to see blood. They want to see the incredible feat of you punching a lion to death, or they want to see this thing rip you into pieces and eat you there and then. And you can hear that kind of the stomping coming through, like kind of bits of sand and dust kind of glittering toward you from the ceiling, and the odd drop of something damp kind of hitting the ground from above. And yeah, at some point, Lars comes down and tells you it's time. And you can do any last preparations, and then you march up the stairs to the entrance area and you enter from this side. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna start like stretching out a bit, like stretching my arms, like the one where you put your arm across the body, that kind of thing, like put my leg into my body, stretch my legs out a bit, do a couple like small bounces.
When the crowd really starts roaring about, and obviously I assume at this point everybody's in and seated, can I make a perception check to see if I can find a Lamia noble sitting around?
Sure.
If it's using sight, it's doubled, so 25.
You do not. But you also think that would be a wild thing to just see. That's not something that would be like accepted in a city, to your knowledge. That's like if there was just kind of a red dragon sitting around watching. There would not be people here if a creature like that was skulking around openly.
Yeah.
In your opinion, but yeah, you know, expecting to see one here because you've been told, she told you to come here. You do not see her description to what you know a Lamia noble to look like.
Can I nudge Anya and ask her if she has the ability to cast See Invisibility right now? I'm just realizing that won't help with disguises, or does it?
No, I also don't think she'll be able to. I think she used all those spell slots.
No, I've just realised because I'm looking on my spell sheet and I'm like, it's not even on here, but I realised it's through my violin.
Oh.
So I can use it as many. I think I can
Should be
use
on
it.
Oh, it'll
Yeah.
be.
Hang on,
I'll double check the one digitally because I might have revised it for the digital one. It might be the same one, so this is a good time to check.
The instrument can be used to cast the following spells once each. It cannot be cast again until the next dawn.
Right,
so, no See Invisibility, unfortunately. Yeah. But no, to your notice, Samaran, Anya, before anything has happened, before you see Eartha or a lion, before anyone enters the battleground itself is currently an expansive sand pit. Not like a sand pit, like you'd step in it and you're not like a beach, but like the ground is like this light gravel, kind of yellowy white gravel. Kind of more like a plane of dust, and it's very expansive. It's a very large area. And at one point, you see Eartha kind of come marching out in his kind of somewhat kind of sweat-stained, a little bit sweat-stained kind of formal shirt, his kind of nicest walking pants, his traveling boots, his sleeves rolled up, his pants kind of tucked up a bit, kind of unbuttoned down to the middle of his torso, his hair tied back out of his face, and no weapons, no more magic than has already been cast. And he kind of goes to a somewhat central location, not quite central, just off, and you see above the battleground, kind of, because obviously in the battle pit, the walls of the battle pit go up, so you can't like run into the crowd. There's kind of like a 15 to 20 foot, actually probably about 20 foot wall around the arena, at which point the seating areas are on top of, so you can't just like, a monster can't just run from the arena into the crowd. But you can see him standing in the middle of this area, and you can see on the top of this walled area a mixture of spellcasters, wizards and druids kind of start marching around, who then begin to kind of ready the battleground, kind of just staring it. And you get the sense from this fight they're not going to do anything too dramatic, because a lion can't really do much if they do anything that take it out of a fair environment. So it's going to kind of stay like this kind of gravelly, sandy, dusty area for this match. But at one point, a wizard, kind of a line of wizards and druids who are standing around the side, they kind of all lift up their arms in unison and crash it back down again. And an explosion of thunder kind of rings from each of these spellcasters. Kind of a set, like a multiple gun salute, kind of, and the crowd begins to get very excited and roar, and the atmosphere comes alive, and a grate opens from the opposite side of the stadium, and this creature kind of begins to lurk out of this corridor that had been previously been sealed off by a portcullis-like gate. It is a lion, not enhanced in any way, not armored or anything like that, but this is not it's not a young lion and it's not an old lion. It's probably on the older side. You can tell by how hard and baked its skin looks. Like, it looks, and it's scarred, and it's almost kind of graying a bit. Like, this is not like a bright yellow and brown lion. This is a graying, older, angry, snarling, scarred, hardened lion. You get the sense this isn't something they just captured in a jungle and this is its first time in the arena. This thing has been living good in this arena for years. And you're either its next meal or its executioner, as it kind of it doesn't run straight at you. It almost respects the rules of the game here, and it kind of approaches opposite you, kind of also off center. So you're standing here and it's standing here, and it just begins to, once the crowd kind of settles and this silence hangs over everything, it begins to approach you, not directly. It just begins to kind of circle a little bit. It's probably about 30 feet away, so it's nowhere near you. But please roll initiative, Eartha. Oof, Jesus.
It's not bad, but it's not good either.
Lion probably has got a 20.
I mean, let's put it this way: it doesn't matter what I get, I don't have a plus. I got 13.
The lion did get a natural 20, which on my new dice is this Lady of Pain symbol. So that's a fitting name. So this lion, this old, grizzled, graying, scarred lion, begins to circle for a moment, and you kind of instinctively start doing the same thing, kind of circling in the opposite direction, thinking that's what's happening. And then no, it just decides no. And it takes a few steps circling and then charges straight at you. It's going to start with a pounce attack. So if the lion moves at least 20 feet straight forward, a creature, straight toward a creature, and then hits with a claw attack on the same turn, the target must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. So first it's going to roll to hit you with its claw attack, which is 11 plus 5 to hit.
Yeah. I mean, even if it got a plus 1, it would hit, so...
So it does 2 plus 3 damage, so it does 5 damage, and you must do a strength saving throw, and if you don't meet the requirement, you are knocked prone.
What's the requirement?
What's the number? What did you roll?
13.
That is the requirement. So, by a hair, this thing, you start doing the circling thing, and it just changes its mind and strikes towards you from 30 feet away, and it is in your face in seconds, terrifying you immediately. This thing leaps and bounds, and from about... So it's running leap. With a 10-foot running start, the lion can jump up to 25 feet away. So after 10 feet of running, this thing kind of pushes into the ground and jumps towards you, and its claw kind of bangs into your chest. No, it doesn't do a massive amount of damage, but each individual claw you feel kind of press in on your lungs, and it's attempting to land on top of you and push you to the ground, but that's not quite how it goes. You manage to kind of see it coming just as you thought you might, and kind of stumble out the way just in time. So it presses onto you, but you can, instead of going down, you kind of push the other way, and you kind of skid back. So for a few seconds, you're on all fours, and then you kind of push yourself back up. So you're kind of ready to fight again. That's the lion's turn. Eartha, it is your turn.
Well, luckily, it's just hit the temporary hit points, because I got 9 temporary hit points. So now I'm going to batter it with one fist, and then War Priest and batter it with another.
Go for it.
Hopefully. Do I get a
roll to hit?
Do I get a plus on my hit?
Yeah, it's just strength.
Is that strength is my plus, right?
You get your strength and your proficiency.
Yeah, because you are proficient with unarmed strikes. Natural 20?
No, double 18.
Double 18.
Plus my strength.
And your proficiency.
And my proficiency.
Yeah.
So that's plus 7 to that 18 then.
That's 25 to hit.
Yeah.
Both times.
Definitely hits.
Well, that's 10 damage then, because It's just
so
1 plus your strength, isn't it?
So you push you kind of stumble backwards. Instead of this thing landing on top of you, you manage to jerk yourself back, kind of falling face first. So for a moment you are prone, but not on your back, and you kind of do a press up, so you're on, and then you push yourself back up again. And this lion is like pissed off. You can see it almost has human-like qualities in its eyes. It's been doing this for a long time, and it's like seeing it's kind of, you get the sense this is its classic opener. It charges and it just puts something on the ground and finishes it there and then. And you've resisted that. And it kind of looks up at you. You are literally right in its face, and you just bang, and it kind of it smacks down. And like as it goes to look up at you again, you just follow it through with a second one, and it doesn't even look up the last time. You just get this quiet frustration coming from this thing. Would you like to do anything else?
I'm just gonna go, what up, bitch? That's it.
Yeah, some trash talk, because you're not a great situation to find yourself
No,
in.
but this is also reminding me of my childhood, back in the pits at home, so it's even better.
Yeah. So this is kind of, you probably did training with wild animals and stuff, some early stuff. This is probably like the apex of what you grew up attempting to do. So next, this lion is going to make a bite attack. 16 plus 5, that is 21 to hit.
Yeah.
And it does 5 damage again.
Okay, so now he's into me and not my temporary hit points.
Yeah, and this thing kind of not looking up at you, and you kind of think like, maybe this isn't going to be so tough, and it just, like, it doesn't look up, it just lunges forward and bites into your leg, and not enough to like grab a hold, it doesn't grab on, it just quickly takes a bite just to scare you again, get you out of that confident mindset, just takes the chomp to kind of just so you feel that flash of pain, and then it spits you out again. Your turn, Eartha.
I just want to, same hand, just bap it twice in the head, just like bap, bap. Or attempt to do that.
Go for it.
Oh. That's not good. Oh wait, no, I got +7, don't I?
Yeah.
Well, I rolled a 7 plus 7, so that's 14, and then I rolled a 6. So 13 and 14?
Yeah.
Both hit.
Oh,
Both hit.
that's another 10 damage then.
You do the same thing again. This thing has this smile that kind of curls across its face as it's kind of managed to put some fear back in you, take that confidence back out, and you just kind of like slap your where it bit you, kind of smack that pain out, and you just kind of bap it on the nose twice, really smack it hard, and it like kind of panics for a minute, like you've hit it in its sacred spot, and it kind of like now staring daggers at you. Okay. Let me just make sure I've got that right. Yes.
Bro, I'm sweating. I'm sweating so bad.
It's a hot day.
At this point in Samara, even though it won't be heard among the muffles of all of us screaming, but can I just so at least Anya hears me, I'll just shout, I'll stand up, and so in the most un-Samara voice ever, to be like, hit him harder next time!
Yeah, like you are trying
like rage.
almost like the, you don't look like a parrot, but your colors resemble a parrot, and you just like evoking someone else's voice, just like trying to get through. The lion is going to take a claw attack at you. 13 plus 5, that's 18 to hit.
Yeah, he knocks me. It's just going to be a battle of endurance. Whoever has more hit points is going to win.
It's not rolling good damage. That's 1 plus 3. That's 4 slashing damage.
Right. Okay.
Pretty sure you've got this comfortably, Alex.
I mean,
this thing, you're like, kind of the worst thing that's happened to this shit so far is some sweat stains from running to kind of sort things out earlier in the day, and kind of because it's kind of hanging open because you've unbuttoned it so you don't get too restrained, the claw, you kind of start jumping back, and the claw just scratches across your front and grabs the shirt and just tears it. All the buttons pop out. It's not off you at the minute, but the kind of the right side of it has a claw mark that goes through it. The left bit of your body has been scratched, but the right side hasn't been scratched, but the shirt has popped off, and it's kind of just hanging open, no buttons. That's the end of the lion's turn. It's your turn, Aether.
What would it be to take my top off then? If it's this ruined, there's no point in keeping it on.
I'll allow an interaction, just a minor thing to just like, you don't even have to unbutton it. You just kind of move your arm so it falls off.
If I do that, will I be able to throw it towards a lion to disorientate it and then hit it again?
That's interesting. I'll allow.
So I get like advantage because it won't be able to see me coming kind of away.
You'll get. I'll let you do this. How about this? Do you already have advantage to hit it?
No.
Okay. Make a dexterity check to see if you can kind of, because the wind is blowing and you're kind of, it's not. An open shirt isn't super throwable, but the line is quite in your face. So what did you roll?
18. Which I thought was incredible because I'm not dexterous.
So you're kind of starting to find you're unencumbered. At first it was kind of stressful not having weapons and armor, but now it's becoming sort of a dance. You're not encumbered by weapons and armor. In one kind of circular flourish, you turn in a full circle, kind of turning so the wind catches your shirt and it falls off your arm, and with your other hand you kind of chuck it to, like, you just kind of bring it over towards the lion so it falls kind of in front of it and it kind of lands. If you kind of like chuck a shirt or something at your dog and it gets confused and it like pats it off, that lion is so for the next have you attacked it yet? I can't remember.
No, I've just taken it off and thrown it at it.
So I'm gonna say, actually,
you could just say one attack if you want,
Yeah, you can't do War Priest this round, but I'll let you that's used your bonus action just because it's a bit more.
Yeah.
But you still have one attack. You have advantage, and it has disadvantage on its next attack.
Right. If I could, yeah, I really want to take the camera and show you, but I don't need to roll again. There's no point in it. There's no point in advantage. Look at it. You can't even see it very well. Can you see that? Can you see that? That says
Yeah, I saw it.
My dice tray is cooler.
But did you get natural 20? I said that now, and you're going to get it next turn. So that's 10 damage anyway, right? Because it's doubled.
Yeah.
And yes.
Because it would be double dice damage, but there's no dice.
The attack doesn't have dice.
There's no dice.
I'll allow it. I'll just, for the sake of, because it's not with this in mind. They didn't write that rule with you punching a lion. So, cool. No, very cool. So, it's gonna try and it's gonna take a claw attack. Most just to like swipe the shirt away, but also trying to loosely hit you. Wow. Disadvantage. Got a 4 and a 1. So
Taps himself in the eye while trying to take the shirt off.
I'm gonna say, instead of doing any damage to himself, he doesn't manage to get the shirt out of his way, so he still has disadvantage on his next go. So Eartha, it is your turn. So the shirt has fallen askew on the lion, and it kind of goes and kind of lumbers forward a bit, missing the shirt, which is still draped across its mane and face.
War Priest it. I'm gonna bap it and then bap it again.
Sure.
8 and 9 plus 7 to both, so 15, 16.
Both hit.
Yeah, nice. That's 10 damage.
10 damage.
Baffing my way through this somehow.
As I know Ellis is in the moment, but as a bystander who can actually look on and I'm not worried about dying right now myself.
Mm-hmm.
Can I how damaged does this lion look to me?
Make a medicine check, or a nature or a medicine check. I'll allow that to you.
I mean, if you want, buddy, I can tell you how damaged I am. If that makes you feel any better.
How much is it at least?
Out of the 55 normal hit points I have, I've lost 5.
Cool.
Because I had 9 temporary hit points and they're all gone.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. Is that
on
nature?
It's nature.
Eartha has... I said this thing was scarred already. This thing has clearly already survived a lot of fights. just the wear and tear of this fight has reopened some of those old scars. This thing looks, it's not a young lion. This thing is already old. It's kind of slowing down a bit. Eartha has this thing on the ropes.
Feeling good. Feeling good.
Eartha. Is it the lion's turn, I believe?
Yes, I backed it.
Yes, you did. So it still has disadvantage. Oh my god. 2 natural 20s. Okay.
I told you, I said it, didn't I? I went and said I shouldn't have done that, but now I've done that, and now it's gonna hit me hard.
But it's trying to get the shit out of its face, so it's a claw attack, which is weaker than the bite attack. So the claw attack does 5 plus 5 plus 3 damage, 13 damage. This claw, as you're kind of forgetting what the pain feels like now. The adrenaline's kicking in. All of those, you haven't taken a hit in a second, and the adrenaline is kind of drowning out the pain of the hits you've already taken, and you're feeling good. And this claw just kind of grabs the side of the shirt and smashes forward and crunches into your side, kind of smacking you a bit out of the way. 13 damage. Eartha, it is your turn though, and the lion is no longer obscured by the shirt. Right,
I would like to dip my finger in the blood and lick it, just to annoy the lion a bit, and then I'm going to war priest it.
Cool. Yeah, go for it. I'll say that's an interaction, you just kind of mocking him, being like, I'm fine, I can do this all day.
I'm going to use Guided Strike on one of them.
Sure.
Because one of them was a 6, which gives me 13, which hit before, right?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
And then the other one was a 2, but is now an 8 plus 7, so that's 15? Yeah. So I got 13 and 15, right, so that's another 10 damage. Oh boy. That lion hit me hard before. Was not expecting that one.
I don't usually do this, but just because of the situation, how would you like to do this, Eartha?
Oh, I would like to uppercut the lion, and as its head's rearing back, I want to kind of like, you know when you see those movies where they rip the bottom jaw off?
Mm-hmm.
I want to attempt to rip his bottom jaw off. As he's like rearing back, I want to go around the side and just kind of...
Make a strength check with disadvantage.
It's alright, my inspiration. I'm going to use 1 inspiration, because I feel like that one will do it. Okay, so the inspiration was a natural 20, but the one before that was a 16 plus 4, which is an unnatural 20.
The inspiration would still have your 5 added on from your strength.
It's only 4.
Yeah.
Oh, well, still before added on.
But it's disadvantage, so it wouldn't be the natural 20 anyway.
So, this thing gets the shit out of its face and smashes you one more time, and you kind of seeing the blood kind of pooling, and some of these old scars and new ones. You obviously haven't cut it, you've been punching it. Its face is kind of crunched up and bruised, but those old scars over its body are starting to begin to pool and bleed again. And you kind of just dive in, recovering very quickly, and you smash it twice on either side of the face, and it just goes for you. It tries to do one last bite, and you manage to catch it, kind of not intending to, but you catch its bottom jaw with the bottom of your boot, and you catch its top jaw with both of your hands, and your adrenaline taking over, you stretch, and you just hear you don't rip it in half by any means, but you just snap both of its jaws in the opposite directions in a moment of divine strength coming over you, and this thing just falls to the side, limp, collapsing, and a cloud of dust and dirt just rising from where this heavy creature is smacked into the ground. And there is just silence.
I want to stand up, dust myself off, and just, both hands in the air, just let out one hell of a scream as I just, destroy the lion with my own 2 fists.
just for my flavor, make a Constitution check for me.
Is it what kind of Constitution check we're checking here? Is it saving or is it just Constitution?
Actually, sure. Make it a saving throw.
Okay, so that's 16.
16. This thing collapses, and you kind of stumble back, and you kind of, by the end, you make it look intentional, but you just kind of, as soon as you realize this thing is done, you just kind of, like the adrenaline needs to leave you, and this just blood-curdling scream, almost a little bit hoarse as your voice cracks a few times, because you're only 20, 22, 23.
I think it's 23.
As like you're a young guy. This is the loudest you have ever screamed, and like your voice breaks a few times, and kind of realizing, not necessarily embarrassment, but just to save face, you kind of look up to the crowd as you finish it off, as you run out of breath, as you silence for a few more seconds, and just the entire thing bursts into applause and screaming and booing and screaming, and everyone has a reaction. Some people love it, some people hate it. So you hear people shouting, "Cheater! Fucking cheater!" and some people shouting like your praise. You think you have a few groupies up there now. Like there are, you've never felt such a massive mixture of hatred and unashamed love towards you. But everyone, even the people that think you might have cheated somehow, think that was a good fight. And the applause shakes your bones. You know what? Sometimes when you sneeze and your body feels like loose for a minute, like your bones are out of place, the sheer like stamping and applause and screaming shakes your body. Not to mention the bleed, like the lion's claw across your chest, and some of the indents, kind of the blood gushing out, and just like the noise and the movement just shakes you completely.
Shit. Now she killed a lion. Damn.
You did it. So, just to save time, and because it's not super interesting, actually, well, before Samaran, Anya, you struggle to get down to where Eartha is for a while because the crowd's leaving is very dense. But when you kind of enter the blood works again, Eartha, Lars is kind of very impressed. He kind of greets you immediately, and he's like, "And would you be interested in doing that again?"
I don't know. Depends how long I'm here for.
He kind of waves his hand, like almost saying like, "Oh, shut up." He's like, "I don't think you understand that. I don't think I even got your name."
Eartha Separate. Yeah.
Did you see what you just did up there? You could be this place's next champion.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good. How, actually, to the DM, how high did I get up in the last place? Like the place I was at before. How high did I get? Like, was I good at it?
You were good, but you were young. You know, you probably stopped doing that at the age of like 17. You probably lost more matches than you won. This feels like a real triumph. You know, you've always lived in your brother's shadow, in Ramas's shadow. He's the Dragon Slayer. He's this, he's that. He's a prodigy. He's the youngest person to reach this rank. Blah, 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 blah. You just killed a lion. You just snapped the lion's face with your hands.
I wish I had sending. I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow.
No armor, no magic, no weapons. You just killed a grizzled lion with your foot and your hands. And it feels incredible. And now there's this authority figure who, like your dad and your mum, you're close with them and you love them very dearly. And your dad could be strict, but he could also be very kind. You've never felt this kind of praise before. Then this guy telling you, not even trying to get anything from you. Not saying like, "Oh, I'll be your manager. I'll take this much profit." He's just saying, you could do this. You could be the top dog around here if you stayed.
How much money would I make if I stayed?
He kind of smiles, kind of brushes his hair back, this long kind of matted black hair. You get the sense he was one of those people screaming in the crowd. He loved what you just did. And he says, "Well, how about we look at it like this?" And he kind of brings you over to his desk where you've been before. And you see Oren, the coin master, is there as well. And he kind of just gives you a wry clap. And he's like, "Very good show, sir. I knew I saw something in you." And they begin sorting out the coin. So, Eartha, the profits you just made from the match was 200 for no weapons, with an extra 100 for no magic during the fight. So that's 300, doubled for no armor. You just made 600 for just participating. That doesn't even include the bet money. All the money bet, you get a 10% profit on. So 10% of increase 400 by 10%, increase 600 by 10%, and 1,000 by 10%. Or you can just do the flat 2,000 by 10% and increase it by 200.
We made 200 gold from our $2,000 bet.
On top of the 600 you just made for participating. But you get the sense that just happened because the odds were skewed. You don't know who was supposed to do this fight. So a lot of people bet on whoever was supposed to be in your place, if that makes sense.
Ah, right, okay. So I was the favorite to win in a way.
Yeah, so if they'd bet on the lion, you could have made thousands from that.
Oh,
and you get the sense,
shit.
if they knew it was you and not whoever was supposed to be here, this might not be the case, you're not sure. But if they saw you, no armor, young guy, 23, not super muscly, but a little bit muscly, they might have bet on the lion. And if you just done what you just done, you could have made 100% profit.
Oh, it would have been nice. That would have been so nice. Oh.
Lars kind of counts out your money. He gives you the money. I'm assuming Samara and Anya will come back down, probably congratulate you. You guys can go in any more specifics if you like, or you can just buy him a drink at the tavern later. And you guys, he kind of takes the receipts off you and gives the money. So Anya, he gives you the blah, blah, blah. Samara, he gives you what you're... or you can all just put it in the bag of holding, so it's all together. But yeah, so you gave 2,000, you get 2,800 back.
I'll give Ellis's 1,100 and my 660 back to him. So he should have. He'll have my money and his money to go back into the bag of holding.
Cool. And yeah, Lars is kind of like, look, just think about it, Eartha. But and this is like not a young man, he's probably like approaching 50. He's like, boy, if you can do what you just did at your age, you're not even in your prime yet. You're the prime of your strength. This could be more than a home. This could be everything for you. But you don't have to make a decision now. There's no rush. Just think about it and think hard. And I suppose I'll see you tomorrow. And he looks over at you, Samara, and he's like, we'll see if you can match that.
Tell you what, buddy. Every time I'm free, and I'm in, this lovely place, Westgate, forgot the name for a minute, I'll stop by and I'll do a fight for you. And then if I'm, free for an extended period of time, because currently we have some shit going on, I will stay a little while and do a couple fights for you.
It's a shame to hear, but if that's all I can get, I'll take it. But if that just you would know, Westgate is actually or the Dragon Coast. The Dragon Mere, which is like this section of inland ocean, which Westgate and the Dragon Coast is on the south side of, and Cormier is on the north side of. The Dragon Coast is actually a very spiritual place for the Red Knight and her church. A lot of very famous commanders have kind of won their glory here. So in your head, you kind of think like you're following in their footsteps in a way. You just won glory on the Dragon Coast, like a lot of heroes of your faith. If you guys have anything else you want to say to Oren or to Lars, you can feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can go about the rest of your day. It's probably about 6 p.m. now. It's about evening. It's not quite sunset, but the sky is getting a little bit pinky purple off in the distance. It's kind of approaching sunset.
Should we go find the two that left us earlier? I mean, we still haven't found Jade. We need Jade still. We need Sea Salt. We need Newt. Still no sign of them.
That's what I was thinking. If we check up for 3 of us,
I was about to say, can I do a quick perception check?
With disadvantage.
Fair enough.
So, Eartha, what was your roll?
34.
34. You overhear some people talking. He's going, it's fucking disgusting. Oh my god, the smell was foul.
I'm gonna go over to those two people and ask them what they're on about.
When you say, oh wait, don't want to know. I had to dredge a horse out of the river earlier on. Fucking disgusting. Oh, it was bloated all to hell.
Was it
Ripped in half almost.
white?
Not anymore.
Oh, that was my horse.
And with that, we'll pick up next time.